what's funny? We say all this stuff about Frank Miller being a cynic and everything, being fucking crazy. I saw a panel with him where he was debating with Tom King, actually.
Okay.
And Tom King's a writer who also wrote Batman for a short time. They were arguing about Superman. And Tom King said something that I really don't like people saying. And he said it up on stage with the whole... It was basically the Tom King, Frank Miller show, but there were other artists there. But they're the big names, you know?
There was a panel, but they were the center.
They were the center of it, and they were taking the most time and everything. And Tom King said that Superman was a boring character.
I fucking hate...
And I hate that. Yeah, I hate that too. Before you go off, I'm gonna just let you know that surprisingly enough, Frank Miller took issue with that.
No, see, I'm not.
No,
surprised.
he's not.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, well, I was surprised because of what he did with him in Dark Knight Returns. And his basis for him being boring or not being boring, Frank Miller's, was like he's hopeful, he's got a family, he's got a job, he's got everything we have. You know, he's a person.
Half of him is a normal person.
Yeah, that's true. But I like to think he brings that half to his other half. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like he brings that human side to his superhero side.
Yeah.
Which makes him not boring.
Yes.
But please go off.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm someone who used to think that Superman was really boring.
Yeah.
I hated the idea of Superman. I think in large part because Superman is such an overpowered character. Mm-hmm. It's like it feels. I think I mistook the. Because this is the thing is like with the. I mean, this is part of what makes One Punch Man so great. Is the
He's looking for the challenge, right?
Well, the thing that's fun about One Punch Man, the thing that makes Saitama an interesting character is not the physical challenges he has to overcome. It's the mental challenges.
Yeah.
And Superman is kind of. I mean, obviously Saitama is loosely inspired by Superman.
Of course, right.
Yeah, it's the question of, for the man who has everything, like, what do you do with that character?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really generative place for writers. That writers can do interesting stuff with. But I think because American society in particular, and I think Western countries in general, I think have entered this malaise particularly since the end of the Cold War, but I think really since the end of the Second World War, where we just don't believe in ourselves anymore. We don't believe in our myths, and we're really becoming increasingly cynical, and we're just not able to believe in truth, goodness, and beauty.
Yeah.
And that's really what I think Superman represents, is truth, goodness, and beauty.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised that Frank Miller stood up for Superman. I think because he is a kind of one, he grew up in the Silver Age. I think he has a great appreciation for that. He's also clearly a very patriotic guy, and Superman. I fucking hate that in recent years they've made this attempt to deracinate Superman. I fucking hate that because Superman fundamentally is an American superhero.
Right.
He is like. If you take away his Americanness, he's not really Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He comes from a very specific time in a very specific place.
Right.
And if you remove him, if you try to make him this universal man, there's nothing interesting about him.
Mm-hmm.
The universal man is not interesting, and the universal man does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
I've met Frenchmen, I've met Italians, I've met Englishmen, but I've never met man.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, see, that's actually. Can I make a suggestion to you?
Yes.
Your superhero idea?
Yeah.
Would work as a novel.
Yes.
Even though it would be a great comic book. It would work as a novel, and that would be a great quote for the book.
Based for quote. And on the front cover, yes.
Yes, that would be a great quote. But when it comes to Superman, I think he's my favorite superhero, He's my favorite because of the complexities of, even though he is very simple. Yeah. Complexity comes from that simpleness. Yes. That it's not that he's dumb or anything like that. It's because he realizes the amount of power he has. How hard is it for someone that powerful to hold back?
Yeah, well, you see that in Superman versus the Elite.
Yeah.
Which I really hope
underrated.
I really hope that gets an adaptation so that I can stop hearing people say that Superman is a boring Boy Scout character.
Yeah.
Because that story is the perfect antithesis. It's the perfect reply to that argument.
It is. It's that everything you said is part of why Man of Steel didn't hit it for me, because they tried to apply that cynicism.
They tried to make
him,
him
you know?
into Manchester Black.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were doing. It didn't feel like, in points, at some areas, it felt like Superman, but
Yes.
it wasn't the narrative. You know what I mean? That wasn't the goal for that film. That goal was to rip up. This was written by a guy, David Goyer, who I respect in some areas, and other areas I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean,
Where he said, who here has heard of Martian Manhunter? Okay, who here's had sex? And I'm like, why are you writing Superman, dude? I mean, that's funny, but that's some red letter media shit.
I mean, it's not. It's a valid point. It's a valid point.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Get a life.
Get a life.
Get laid. I'm Rich Evans. I've had sex.
I'm Rich Evans. I've gotten laid.
If I can get laid, so can you.
To quote Mike Stacklasa, I don't really take these comic book things all that seriously. And if you do, get a life. Get a life.